Hello, welcome to our ecosystems unit. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what you're going to learn in the next week, actually 3 weeks. We're going to take about 3 weeks to learn our first unit on ecosystems. Now, ecosystems have a lot to do with biomes, and we're going to learn about biomes this first week. And then next week, we're going to learn about food webs and food chains and how those things are interconnected. So the two primary biomes that I want you to really learn and concentrate on this week. The first one is the deciduous forest. That's where we live. We live in the deciduous forest, which means the trees around us. Some of the trees decide to drop their leaves in the fall of the year. So the leaves fall off in autumn, and the trees have decided to drop their leaves. So we call that deciduous forest. So we live there. And you know almost everything about the deciduous forest because that's where we live. You know about the animals who live here in this area and the plants. The next one that you may not have heard about is called an estuary. An estuary is where the rivers flow down and they meet the ocean. So all rivers flow into the ocean. So that part where the fresh water of the rivers, and now fresh means there's not much salt at all in the rivers. And then you know how salty the ocean is. When those salt levels mix, when the fresh water flows into the salt water of the sea, when they mix right there, it's called an estuary or a salt marsh. But we're going to learn about the word estuary as a biome this week. Now, starting next week, we're going to learn about the food web and the food chain and how animals and plants are interconnected. So obviously, most of all animals are producers. They produce their own energy. So producer and plant both start with a P. So you know that plants are producers. They do not have to move around and go to the grocery store to find energy like we do. They can just produce their own energy from the sun. Now, we are consumers, and every animal and insect on the earth that has a mouth is a consumer. A consumer is something or someone who eats. So we do. We like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks in between. So animals do too. So they are all consumers. And then there's one more category called a decomposer. A decomposer decomposes or breaks down dead organisms. So a decomposer is like a fungus or a bacteria or a mushroom who breaks down the plants or the dead animals so that we can recycle that energy in our system. All right. The document that you're going to click on in this assignment, you're going to make a copy for your drive. And it's written really for teachers. It's really written for me, but I wanted to share my document with you so that you can see what I'm about to teach you, so that you know exactly what's coming up. So read through this document. You should be able to read and understand most of it. And then by the end of the week, you'll understand all of it. So you'll see essential questions. These are questions that you will find the answer to soon. There will be objectives, which means that these are the specific things that I am supposed to teach you through this unit of 3 weeks. And then you'll see a vocabulary list, not the definitions. You'll get that later on today, today. A vocabulary list is just a list of words that you need to know by the end of our unit. Okay, so that is in a nutshell our overview of ecosystems unit. So let's keep learning.